All right. Well, to quote the great Robert Evans, we're back. I don't know if that hits for anybody. Anybody watches Behind the Bastards or listens to Behind the Bastards? It's a very good podcast and very informative. Lots of history, lots of good, evil, bad, terrible people. And so you can learn what not to do. Anyways, United States Pirate Party, we are back at our 2025 conference. And my name is Drew Bingaman. I am your captain for the time being. And we're going to roll into pirate business now. And we will have a speaker a little bit later. And if we're still doing business at that time, we'll pause and come back to business to finish up if we need to. Then after that, we have a cryptocurrency discussion, and then we'll be closing out the afternoon. So thanks for everybody for joining us. We have a crowd shuffling in as we speak. So I'm going to ask if anybody knows that we have any other business that we need to attend to before we get to our election nominations. I'm not seeing any hands. I just wanted to make sure that there wasn't anything that we needed to attend to before we go into elections. Okay, so according to my sheet here, it looks like we have 10 positions. We have captain, chair. We have first officer, vice chair. We have quartermaster, treasurer. We have scribe, secretary. We have lookout, state monitor position, moderator. We have bean counter, auditor. We have our swarm care manager. We have our web admin, director of the online. And we have director of PR, and we have captain of Young Pirates USA, which I think this is the first time we'll be electing a captain for the Young Pirates. So, let me see here. Let's see. Who do we have with us right now? Taking stock of everybody that's here. Okay, so do we just? I think I'm just going to go down the ranks here, and we'll go from the top down because the country's bottom up, and usually pirates are too. But so we'll go the other way this time. We have 2 nominations for captain. We have myself, and we have Jolly Mitch DeVillo.
Ahoy!
Mitch, you've got 5 minutes to give us your pitch.
Swashbucklers, scallywags, friends of the show. You know me. You know what I'm capable of. But let me tell you what I'm not capable of before we go any further. Because I think more important than what I can do as captain, I think it's more important you guys know what I may fail at as captain. I'm not a timely man. I showed up 30 minutes late to every single meeting in Chicago. And I'm not very tech savvy. So having the meetings run, I might need some help. That being said, I've been here for 5 years, and I see the direction this pirate party has grown. I think, honest to God, we are in good hands, and my personal endorsement does go to Drew. However, if the people of the pirate party do decide to elect me, I want you all to know that I will do my due diligence to make sure that this is a party that I represent proudly and you can be proud to feel represented by. I will continue to do, no matter what happens, my through the Spyglass series on the website, which I do believe is very important to promoting the pirate message and getting the pirate ideals out there. without so much as promoting ourselves as much as it is allowing people to see things through our point of view. I think the Pirate Party has been moving in a solid direction, and I think a big part of that has to be Drew's leadership. And I think that if it ain't broke, don't fix it. If you guys choose a new direction, that's what you're choosing with me. And I think that the direction the ship is going on is just fine. However, if you choose me, I promise the direction the ship is going is not going to be towards choppy waters or towards uncharted shores. We are going to continue going in the same positive direction no matter what. And I think that you don't have a bad choice in the matter. I know who I would pick, and I would be honored if you picked me. But no matter what, I think we are in very good hands.
Is that it? You still got to, that's only half the time, but that's okay. We do have other people that need to speak, so.
Yeah, I'll say if purchasing isn't ownership, piracy isn't theft, and that's how I end it.
There we go. All right, so I will just give you just a brief, because this is practically a little bit of an audition for me, anyways. Just running this thing, running the meetings as you've seen me do. I will say absolutely, I would have nobody else replace me other than Mitch right now. Mitch, you've been amazing for this party. We are a team here, everybody. If you haven't noticed that, we are a team. We have roles that need to be filled, and I would be glad to continue in running these meetings and trying to keep them on time and everything. But we are free pirates, and we choose which way we want to go. And again, like Mitch said, neither of us is a bad choice here. So that's pretty much it. If you like what I've been doing, then vote for me. If you'd like to see a little bit of a change, I have no doubt that we will be in solid hands with Mitch at the wheel. So that said, is there anybody that has any questions for either of us? I am Dustin. Go ahead.
Okay. For the next, at least, cycle, I guess, aiming towards the next set of elections, what sort of positions would you encourage people to run for, and what sort of assistance would you provide to people running for positions, or what kind of tasks would you like to try and delegate out for people to help others or something?
Is that for both of us, Dustin?
Yeah.
Okay. Mitch, go ahead. You can go first.
My biggest place of encouragement would definitely be to run local offices where you have someone like Darren, who's already stated his interest in running for U.S. Congress. I wouldn't try to talk him out of it. However, if someone came up to me and said, hey, I'm thinking about running for office, I would start suggesting library board or school board, or at the highest, state representative. When you have someone who I actually think holds a fighting chance like Darren, even when you look at the odds of statistically beating an incumbent Democrat, I still like Darren's chances at running in Congress. Especially when you consider in 2022 when we had Ethan pull in 10,000 votes as an independent. So it isn't unheard of for us to pull a pretty good showing as a pirate candidate. However, if you would ask me and you ask for the advice of the captain, I would say, let's try to get you in at the state level, or let's try to get you in at a library board position or a school board position. Because I think more important than just getting our faces out there is getting pirates in office. And I think the local offices is the one where you impact in your life. So if you're able to run on a library board and get a motion passed that this library will not ban any books, that's a massive win. So if you could, the small things that you could do is perhaps the biggest impact. So that is my advice, is to run, but run small. Unless you have the wherewithal or means or inspiration to do so, like Darren, and then I say go for it.
All right, thank you, Mitch. My answer to that is I have run as a local candidate. I encourage everybody to run as a local candidate. That is where you get your experience from. Just getting your feet wet in the political process, learning your local rules and regulations, what you have to do to get on the ballot is a big hurdle for us as third parties. Reaching out to people to support you is a good thing to do. I do have experience with campaigns. I'm actually considering one for myself next year, as far as state rep position. So I would do what I can to support candidates and encourage everybody to go out there, look at things at the beginning of this year, the beginning of next year, or even this year. Consider positions locally that you want to run for. In Pennsylvania, next year is not going to be local elections. That's going to be state elections. So you can plan these things out if you know your election cycles. But absolutely do what I can to support candidates, and obviously encourage everybody to run for any pirate to run for office, and run for office under any banner, because if you're a pirate now, you're gonna be a pirate no matter what your label is going into office. So that's just something else I would say. Let's do we have one more question, and then we'll roll to our next office. Not seeing any hands. Okay, well, next we have first officer, vice chair. We have Ty Clifford and Dustin Etz. And Dustin, you would be the challenger, so I'm going to give you the first 5 minutes. Are you with us?
Yep.
Okay, you've got 5 minutes.
Okay. So for vice chair, basically, what I'd like to promote in the Pirate Party is interactions with effectively open source communities. We have all of the potential and I guess some renown to some extent with those communities already. And the open source communities have already done a lot of what the mission of the Pirates are, which is to make the economy better, open, free, all that good stuff. We just need to connect together all of the existing open source communities, find where the overlaps in technologies are, help train people to be able to use the existing stuff. There's tools for virtually everything. It's just people not coordinating well enough to connect those communities together and make a whole and coherent way to push forward for an open source oriented economy, and stuff like that. I would say there's a few different pieces to that. So first, we need to make networks that are oriented around the people, that are resilient to authoritarian powers. That could come in the form of crypto, but those are more mercenary groups. And it could also come in the form of mesh networks, which can be held at local levels. And those, using a combination of those, we can form very resilient means of preserving democracy in places where authoritarianism has taken over. And I think that is an important portion of what we need to build and what we need to encourage open source communities to build and work together with other open source communities to have that mesh well. Another thing to build out is accountability systems. So by and large, something the Pirates are known for is transparency, and we need to look into the existing tools that are often used already, such as political scorecards, that are already used by many lobbies and build a more advanced set of systems, collaborate with others, and make accountability systems for policies and for politicians, and just make something so robust that it's not a question of who is in the right on things. And misinformation campaigns, the politics of misinformation needs to be brought down, for lack of better words. We need to be more credible than the existing parties and more professional than the existing parties. And we can do that if we leverage the existing open source communities out there who care about these kinds of things. There's lots of people who do volunteer work on this sort of stuff, like Statistics Statistics Without Borders, other nonprofit organizations. Many organizations already exist that do statistics on all issues. We just need to create a way for them to come together and critique and help create policies together in a way that's publicly accountable. And then on top of that, also, we need to help researchers be able to do things. There's already people who do research across the board on all kinds of things that can solve most of our issues. It exists in an open source format. We need to help bring those communities together
You have 1 minute.
researchers, and help them come together with the organizations to basically form a path forward for the future. We have ways to reform our manufacturing using 3D printing technology and other similar technologies to decentralize manufacturing, and we can do it in a way that's green. A lot of researchers have already put in the work for open source research on how to do that. We just need to use them and bring them together. And I want to push the Pirate Party in that direction, encourage people to join some open source community, build their skills, build their organizing skills, and help bring those communities together. And just encourage people to build up their community. And yeah, that's what I've got. Also, helping organizing the Pirates, since I think this is the most credible place to promote open source communities and bring them on board.
Okay, that's your time.
Cool.
Thank you, Dustin. Ty, are you with us? Maybe he's not. He might not be.
Mm-hmm.
Ty Clifford, are you with us? You are still showing on the meeting, but he might be running late. Yeah,
Okay.
all right. Well, I guess we will move forward. Does anybody have any questions for Dustin?
I have one question.
Go ahead, Wanda.
If a tie leaves the meeting but never clicks end the meeting, does it make a sound?
No, it does not. Mitch, you have a question?
I do have a question, and Dustin, I actually do think you've already answered the question, but I do want to kind of dig in deeper to see if there's any expansion on your explanation. Obviously, when Brigitte was here, she mentioned that there needs to be more women in the party, or that we should make a concerted effort to try to recruit more women. Outside of the open source community, is there any particular target of, I guess, voter demographic or voter occupation that you're looking at that you think would be wise for the Pirate Party to start looking towards?
A demographic for the Pirate Party to look towards? I would say basically just people who do something in their community in general. You have to find people in what they're interested in and be able to get them to work with the Pirate Party and give them a way to progress forward in life, give them a route towards things. Farmers markets might be a great place to go to. A lot of people in farmers markets who go there are often like local business oriented. So you might find a lot more common ground in terms of people who have the ideology of wanting to be in like a free society and all that, and be more local business and decentralized oriented sort of things. So in In person, I would say farmers markets might be a great place to go to. Yeah.
All right. Do we have any other questions for Dustin? Not seeing any other hands. Okay, well, let's roll. Let's keep moving forward. We have we have our incumbent for quartermaster and treasurer. We have our incumbent, Darren McKeeman, and we have Eli McGee, our nominees. Eli, are you with us?
Yeah.
Okay, you've got 5 minutes.
All right. So for this position, I self-nominated myself, solely to have it be solely to make sure that every single election was contested in some form. Admittedly, I'm not too keen on this position, I suppose. So it should be a pretty easy race for the incumbent in this situation.
Yeah, if you go out and then.
That is my speech.
All right. Thank you, Eli.
And then when you get to the end, turn left. Okay.
I think those were, Darren was giving Mitch directions to the bathroom.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Darren, you've got 5 minutes.
Okay, so I stepped into this position mostly because I didn't see anybody else stepping up to it. I am pretty good at counting, which I guess is a good reason to be doing stuff, but I am not particularly attached to any position that I hold in the Pirate Party. I just know that I want to be involved. And however that involvement is best served, that's where I'm going to gravitate to. So far, the position of treasurer has mostly been a little bit of a confusing one, but I'm slowly figuring it out. And I actually hope that I've done an okay position, even though I don't feel like I've done enough at all to warrant a revote or another vote on that. As far as any other position that I'm nominated for, I actually prefer the position of treasurer to any of them. So that's where I stand right now. This is my favorite position I've been on so far. I hope that I've served you folks well, and I hope that you will vote for me again.
Is that it, Darren?
That's it. That's all I got.
Okay. All right. I'm all about us being efficient with this process. If we so choose to do that, go that route. Do we have any questions for Darren or Eli? Not seeing any raised hands, and I think we probably know which way this one's going to go. So, that being said, let's go on to Scribe Secretary. This is definitely a position that we need to get filled here. We do not have an incumbent in this position currently. Right now, we have Blaze Henry, who is here with us. We have Eli McGee and Darren McKeeman. And since, Blaze, you haven't had a chance to speak yet, I'm giving you the 5 minutes to start.
Well, first of all, my name is Blaze Henry, obviously, and I am the captain or temporary captain of the Arizona Pirate Party. I've been doing all I can to make sure Arizona becomes a recognized party within the U.S. National Party, make it official through official state for the United States Pirate Party. And for one, I didn't self-nominate myself for this position. Someone nominated me, which I am incredibly and extremely grateful for. So, with that said, I would love to be scribe for the United States Pirate Party and to be able to do what I can to help make scribe be a good position and help the United States Pirate Party do what it can to ensure governance with the secretary position.
that it? Is that it, Blaze?
And I will say a ship cannot be run by itself. It needs crew. And I will gladly offer myself to any position to help be involved in the best way I can.
All
That
right.
is my speech.
Awesome. Thank you. Eli.
All right.
You
So
ready?
this one,
You got 5 minutes.
all right. This one I don't remember self-nominating myself for because there's 3 people, so I was most likely nominated by someone else for this. Trying to think how to change my speech from the last time. So one thing that I do kind of find myself doing or in my out of pirate life or regular life, is I find myself sort of accidentally my way into all sorts of roles within either job or outside of work activities, whatever. And one thing that I do, or I see words are hard. I often accidentally into those sort of positions, and I often find myself doing a good job at it, or doing better than how I expected to. So in any sort of position that I am nominated and hopefully elected for, I would continue that tradition of being able to figure out a way to do things, even if it wasn't the intended plan, I suppose, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Anything
about
else? Okay. All right, Darren, you are also nominated for Scribe Secretary. You have the floor.
Okay, well, I did not nominate myself for any of these positions. I'm not a self-nominating kind of person unless I see a great need. I appreciate the nomination for secretary. If I am elected, I will do my best to do this position. It's not the first, it's like I said, it's not the first thing I would think of myself as. I think of myself as the treasurer right now. But I do have a better grasp on what a secretary does from all the nonprofit board involvement I've been getting lately. So I feel like I would be pretty good at this. I respect any vote that I get. And I actually think that Blaze would probably be a better candidate for secretary than I am. So that's probably how I'm going to vote. But I appreciate every vote that everybody gives towards me, and I yield the floor.
All right. Well, thank you, all 3 of you. Appreciate that. Okay, so next up is Lookout State Moderator. We have David Hall, who is not with us. Wanda Ward, you are with us, Wanda. We have Stevenson Malloy, who is not with us. I do not know. And Ty, who we think is not with us, but is his ghost is haunting us here on the live stream. So that being said, Wanda.
Ahoy, everybody. I wanted to say that I do appreciate the nomination for state moderator. It's not one I was necessarily expecting. I think it's definitely important to make sure that relationships between the state parties are adequately maintained, and I think if elected to this position, I would be able to do that. That's really all I have to say.
Okay. Does anybody have any questions for Wanda as far as state moderator Lookout? Because doesn't look like anybody else is here, unless Ty has rejoined us. And I'm guessing no. Mitch, go ahead.
Wanda, as Lookout, what would be your method if say Illinois and California were ready to box each other? What's your first thing to solve the issue?
I would say communication. That seems like the most important thing.
Talk it out.
All right. Thank you.
Any other questions for Wanda? Not seeing any hands. All right, we will move on. This might go faster than I had ever thought it would go. So we might have a decent amount of time, which is not a bad thing. Okay, so now next is Bean Counter Auditor. We have Eli, Jolly Mitch, and David Hall. Mitch, it's been a while since you've had a chance to speak, so you're up.
You know what? You need me to count the beans? I'll count the beans. No problem. Obviously, bean counter. As best as I can work with whoever ends up being treasurer. If it's Darren again, I would just work with him as best I can. If not, I would probably take Dustin's lead and assume that I won't be doing much as bean counters. But if you need me, I'll be here.
All right. Thank you. Eli.
So I'm going to break up my speech into like 10 different things because there's like 10 different elections that I have. So in this section of it, completely lost my train of thought. So one thing that I will work on is, I know I haven't been too active in sort of meetings. I've just kind of been listening in, sort of sitting. So that's one thing which I will work on just in general, is, being more active in these meetings, being more active in whichever role I'm given. And hopefully that will turn out better than it currently is, and go from there.
Okay. Let's see. Okay, that's the two of you guys. Any questions for either of the candidates for Bean Counter? No, not seeing any hands. Okay, Swarm Care Manager. We have Dustin Etz and Wanda Ward. Dustin, I'm going to give you the floor because Wanda spoke last.
Sure. I mean, the Swarm is great. The Swarm is good. The Swarm kicks butt. I care about the Swarm, and the Swarm cares for me. I hope. But being real, like I try to mediate if I see situations. I do my best in terms of like moderating things. If I see something sketchy happening, I'll talk to other people to make sure I'm trying to do things fairly. If a situation arises, usually try to pick up things where I see them falling and people aren't being communicated to. I think it's everyone's responsibility to care for the swarm where they can, and I think a number of us care for the swarm to the best of our capability whenever we can. It's nice to have a title, I guess, but yeah. That's
all right. Thank you. Wanda, you've got 5 minutes.
I'd like to say this is actually a nomination I was expecting. Full transparency, I did self-nominate for this one. I think it's something I'd be good at, helping state parties, helping new folks in the party. It's something I've already been trying to do with Arizona and with Ohio, and I'd like to continue doing that. It's something that's important to the future of the party, and something that is important to help the party grow and stay healthy. And that's all I'd like to say.
Okay, thank you, Wanda. Do we have any other questions for Dustin? Is that a question for Wanda? No?
Yet again, it was an accidental.
Okay, no, that's fine. I mean,
flat.
fat fingering happens. It's all good. Mitch, it looks like you've got your hand up.
I do, and this is a question for both Dustin and Wanda. Swarm Care Manager, obviously I was Swarm Care Manager for 2 years straight. It's a very important position to me.
I would like to know, as Swarm Care Manager, what your #1 priority would be to trying to get new volunteers or welcoming new volunteers into the party.
I would like to say that my goal would be contacting people who are already in pirate channels but may not be currently active. I think there's a lot of people, for example, in our Discord server who have joined but haven't been properly communicated with. And I think in order to actually properly bring those people into the party, we need to engage with them more.
Dustin?
Yeah, I would say no. That's a pretty good one, actually. Well, so I don't know. I try to find out what people's interests are when they come in. Not push people too much, but try to push them a little bit, I guess. But try to make people feel comfortable. Try to make situations where people can attend. Try to encourage people to do things on occasion. That's pretty much it. Just lead by example in the best ways you can, to the best of your ability with the time you have.
Okay. Thank you both for that.
I would say I think
Oh, sure.
Wanda's been doing pretty great so far. So I would like to encourage Wanda to do more and give an official position to them if they want it. So
All right. Well,
I would also like to say thank you, Dustin, and you've not been doing a bad job yourself.
all right. That sounds like we got a tough one there. All right. Next one is web admin, director of the online. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. We have 3 nominees for that. If you could just also, when you have your 5 minutes, just give us a background of what your experience is with web admin type stuff. And Morgan, you're Morgan Landry, Blaze Henry, and Mars Bale. Mars is not with us. Morgan, you haven't had a chance to speak yet, so you've got 5 minutes.
Thank you. Hi, my fellow pirates. My name is Morgan Landry. I'm running to be your webmaster or web admin. In addition to my 2 master's degrees in information technology, I have 7 years of IT experience. I'm a member of the Free Software Foundation, and I run an open source small business as an IT consultant in aerospace and small business development. I also have upper level nonprofit experience as a vice president of a local leadership association, and I have webmaster experience in the nonprofit and business sectors. I believe technology can be a form of activism. As your webmaster, I will keep your websites and other tools up to date and support transparency as well as professionalism. As a woman pirate, I will do my best to recruit diversity into the party. And lastly, as a member of the early online anime community, piracy is not theft. Thank you very much.
Okay. Dustin, is that a question? We will have a chat. We'll come back after. I got to give Blaze the floor to say his thing first.
I believe it.
You fat fingered that again, didn't you? That's what it was. It was okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. Okay, we're good. Okay, we got this. Blaze, you've got 5 minutes.
Well, I'll keep this short and sweet. I didn't self-nominate myself for this position either. And someone nominated me, which I'm also very grateful for the nomination. With that also said, I have nowhere near as much web admin experience as Morgan or Mars. So anyone who wants to vote for me, I suggest putting it into voting me for scribe or public relations, not for web admin.
Okay. Do we have any questions for either Morgan or Blaze? Wanda?
May I do a little bit of campaigning on Mars's behalf?
Sure.
I would just like to say that Mars does have experience in helping the party with our websites, particularly with regards to the Florida and Arizona websites. Y'all should feel free to check out both of those. Let me get the Arizona link. azpirateparty.org is the Arizona website, and flpirates.org is the Florida website. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for giving Mars a little bit of a proxy representation there. Do we have any questions for Blaze or Morgan? Oh, Mitch.
Yes, I have a question for Morgan. First of all, welcome. It's, glad you want to be a part of this. My question is, why do you want to be a part of this? What about the Pirate Party made you feel like, ooh, this could be something I want to be at home with? And second part to that question, I see you're in Texas. Win or lose, what do you intend on doing with the Texas Pirate Party?
Good questions. I wanted to get more politically involved, but I wasn't satisfied with the two-party system, so I started looking to third parties. What appealed to me about the Pirates was the emphasis on open source advocacy, personal freedom, and privacy, which are all values I strongly resonate with as a person who works in the IT industry. If for some reason I'm not selected, I would like to get the Texas Pirate Party going again. Maybe have more local meetings on Discord, or update the local website if the national webmaster isn't doing that. So I still want to be involved even if I'm not selected.
All right. Does that cover it, Mitch, or do you have anything else?
I'm satisfied with that answer.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
other questions for either candidate? Not seeing any hands. Okay. Well, thank you both for your input there. We're going to move on to Director of Public Relations. We have a bunch of nominees for this. We have Eli McGee, Ryan Codine, Blaze Henry, Rowan Tipping.
Sorry to cut you off, but it's Codine.
Oh, sorry, Ryan. I apologize. Codine, Ryan Codine. Blaze, Rowan Tipping, who is now with us, and Darren. So I think we have everybody. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, so both Ryan and Rowan are nominated for the next position. So Ryan, I'm going to give you the first 5 minutes on this one since you haven't had a chance to speak.
Hold on one moment, please. I gotta turn on my webcam. What the heck?
It's okay if we can't see you. That's fine. We can hear you.
Okay. Hi, guys. Hi, if you will. My name is Ryan Codine. I have been a member of USPP, US Pirate Party, since late 2024, a couple weeks after the election. I have been so blessed to found such a lovely community where I can call my own. I have helped you guys through getting state and even local chapters elective, i.e. New Hampshire, New Jersey, and the Philly or Philadelphia Pirate Party. Before this, I had experience with the U.S. Progressive Party and the New Jersey Progressive Party pages doing social media content, and I've done social media content for Voter Choice New Jersey. I hope you guys will elect me as Director of Public Relations. I'm also running for Young Pirate Party USA, but I know I only win one position. And as they say on our website, and we all say, there's no safe harbor for the enemy.
My bad. I left myself muted. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate that. Rowan, you haven't had a chance to speak yet, so you're up with 5 minutes.
Thank you very much. I know I'm nominated for public relations and for the Young Pirates leadership roles.
Just so you know, you don't have to make your pitch speech for captain of the Young Pirates now. You'll get a chance. you'll get a chance when this is done.
Sounds perfect. Thank you very much. Well, I've been involved with pirate politics in the United States writ large, because being involved in Illinois has been a huge part of my pirate experience per se. But since 2021, I'd say I've been in the pirate sphere, for lack of better terms. I've always been encouraged by the history of pirate politics as well as where it can go. I think as someone who's studied history and who's very interested in politics, seeing how pirate politics came about in Europe and became parties that came into offices in governing powers in different ways, in local offices, in regional offices, even in some national legislators or bodies, that always inspired me. And honestly, even to this day, I think that that's something that still puts a fire under my feet in relation to, and in a positive way, I'll say, to see U.S. Pirate Party officials in public offices. I think that we are in a unique position where we have a very syncretic mindset in how we approach politics. We're not beholden to left wing or right wing or any specific ideology. So I find that our position is quite pragmatic. And I think that we can make a great case for our movement, for our party writ large, by showing how we are adaptable to our current conditions in the 21st century, and in our modern conditions where technology is more relevant and should be more accessible and widely accessible, especially information. I think that we can make that message pragmatic, electable, and we can get people into office with that in mind. So that's all I really have to say. If you have faith in me, I would love to fill that role and help spread that message across the whole country in all ways possible. And yeah, thank you for your time.
All right. Thank you, Rowan. Okay. So next, reset my timer. Let's see here. We've got Rowan and Ryan and Blaze. Darren, you haven't had a chance to speak in a while. Did we? There you are. Okay. Darren, you've got 5 minutes.
Okay, so this is another position that I did not nominate myself for. I appreciate the nomination. I can only imagine that this is because I am so good at figuring out PR stunts. I was the first person. The thing that got me into the Pirate Party lately has been organizing the very first, at least in San Francisco, protest of Project 2025, along with Vermin Supreme back in September. I've been told that I'm the first person in the country to protest Project 2025 on such a scale, but I think it was just San Francisco myself. I think other people around the country about the same time are starting to understand it. But that was just trying to get PR and attaching the Pirate Party's name to it and getting our name out there. It certainly got our name out here in San Francisco. A lot more people we got some mentions in the newspaper here. That being said, that's not my specialty. I'm just pretty good at making a spectacle of myself. So I would continue to like to make a spectacle of myself. I think Rowan would probably be a better person for the director of PR than I would. I appreciate his use of the word syncretic, and I believe that it's an honor just to be nominated. So thank you all for your nomination, and I appreciate the votes if you get them, but I'll be voting for Rowan myself.
Okay, thank you, Darren. Blaze, are you still with us?
I am. I am.
You've got 5 minutes.
This is also a position I wasn't nominated for, which I'm also very grateful for. And for public relations, I will do the best I can to ensure the best image and quality for the United States Pirate Party, and to ensure its growth in the eyes of the public, and make sure it appears to be a very viable and suitable third party to vote for. That's my speech.
Okay, thank you, Blaze. And last but not least, our incumbent, Eli.
All right. So I'm Eli. I am the incumbent for the position. Let's be honest here. I haven't done too much with the position in the past year or so that I've had it, which part of that is actually credit to the party as it currently was when I took the position. Is you guys are pretty, or nah, you guys have done a good job at managing that portion of the party with in terms of social media and outreach. But that is definitely one thing which I would be able and willing to um, push stronger. It's one of those things where it feels weird, like taking initiative, I suppose. It's one of those things where I don't want to sort of like jump the gun on something and sort of screw things up in the long term. So I have been kind of waiting for someone to say like, hey, Eli, do this thing, which in retrospect is probably not the best option. And that is one thing which I will work on if reelected, is I will take a bit more initiative. I will reach out to various news agencies, social media networks, and so on to boost the party and push forward in that direction. I do have experience in PR, just in general. In the Massachusetts Pirate Party, I am the incumbent PR director, PR and media director there. With both jobs that I've had in the past year or so, I have also ran, it is my job to be sort of that outreach person to sort of get the word out about the company, about the program, which does also mean navigating through very, so say, tedious state regulations at times, just because of how my jobs industry is. So that is one. So I will work on just sort of being a little bit more go-getting, trying to, just do more, I suppose. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right. Now, last but not least, we started with the captain. We're going to finish with the captain. Captain for the Young Pirates. We have Ryan Codine, Michael Cadwallader, and I always miss a syllable in his name, and Rowan Tipping. Michael is not with us currently, so let's see. Wait, Rowan, I think I put you number 2 in the last one, right? Yeah, okay. So I'll give you the first word here, and then we'll go to Ryan.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much. Well, to continue, I guess my thoughts, because I think that these roles, while different, have similarities in kind of saying where the Pirates want to go forward or what our future steps are. Like PR is saying the message, pronouncing the message to the whole country, and Young Pirates obviously leading that area of pirate politics in our country is inspiring and educating people, hopefully come into pirate politics leadership in state roles and in national roles. So I find it equally as important, because I think that pirate politics, especially now with the way things are going in the US and writ large, people are really, really wondering if there's more options or different paths or different ways to imagine where our society can go. And I think that as a pirate party, we can expand our operations. And like I said previously, since we're syncretic, I know the use of the word, it's a very important word, though. We don't hear it a lot in politics, though. That's why I used it. It does make us, in my opinion, I use this word a lot, and some people have a negative connotation, pragmatic, because we can think about the different issues our country is facing. We could think about the solutions that actually benefit the most people. And I think, I'd really like to inspire young people who are interested in pirate politics to work in or go for a local office, work in local government in any way possible, and get the pirate vision in these areas. Whether they wave the flag boldly or whether they just have it in their hearts, I think we can spread our pirate message both blatantly and in a less blatant way. But it's still, I think they're both really vitally important to get our mission and idea as widespread as possible. Thank you for the time.
Okay. Thank you, Rowan. Ryan, you still with us?
Hi, yes, everyone. I am with you guys.
Go ahead.
So, my prior experience of working with the youth is I used to help man this outreach thing for this congressman that ran in my district. His name was Tim Alexander. Last time I ever helped an establishment Democrat. This was back in 2022. Because I would make an example by making the most phone calls and talking to the most people, I got made volunteer coordinator outreacher because of it. Additionally, I've helped with the Bernie Sanders campaign. Also, I'm with the Green Party. That includes the Young Socialist Caucus. I'm actually a multi-party list, which is why I say that. Before this, I also helped the United States Progressive Party, New Jersey Progressive Party, which caters towards the youth based on Bernie's ideals. Rest assured, I'm no longer a Bernie supporter. Also, I've come to learn to accept Vermin Supreme, and I hope one day become a more miniaturized version of him. Also, I like to end this with a quote. Empowered youth are a catalyst for positive change. I hope you guys elect me for becoming the next young captain of the Pirate Party of the USA. If not, I'm more than happy to have this role given to someone I know you guys would trust, and I myself would trust in turn. Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you, Ryan. Do I have any questions for either Ryan or Rowan or both? And did I skip questions on the last one? I apologize if I did. I did. So I'm going to open the floor to questions because we've got plenty of time here for either the public relations or young pirates. And there's obviously some crossover between a couple of the candidates here anyway. So Mitch, let us know what position your question is for and who your question is for.
Well, actually, this will be for Rowan and Ryan since they're both nominated for PR and Young Captain. Since I guess the question kind of ties into what they may do in the role, depending on which role they take. So, gentlemen, depending on whether you are PR director or captain of Young Pirates USA, I ask what is the most pressing issue that needs to be addressed within the Pirate Party that you hope within your role you would be addressing?
Rowan, go ahead. It doesn't. I mean,
Go
ahead, Rowan. You're still muted though.
Oh, Ryan can go first. I'm fine either way.
Okay,
No.
fine.
No. Oh, okay. Well, I have an answer ready if I can.
Sure, go.
Okay.
Go.
Well, this might be more in relation to PR than being the captain of the Young Pirates, possibly, potentially. But I'd say the biggest issue, in my opinion, I think I've said this previously, and people who have heard me talking to Pirate Spaces have heard this before. While I love that we're an online-based party, we have issues based on internet and technology. That's kind of our bread and butter. I still think that we need to break that image, certainly have that mission and have that focus of that area but I think we also need to be local people, like go to our local city councils, show up in public spaces and show a smiling face that you'd want to see behind a public office. Because I think that, there's branding things that you could think of and stuff like that. But mainly, I just want people to not, because when I thought about it, and because I do believe that pirate politics is a deep part of my political beliefs. It's not my only part, but it's certainly a major part. I think that giving pirate politics a more rational, or I use the word pragmatic because I just think pragmatic is a beautiful word as well, more pragmatic face too as well, like showing up and saying, here, like we actually want to implement these things. And rather, because I think the biggest issue with some parties, and maybe it applies to the Pirate Party as well, I'm not going to say directly, is sometimes we have the visions, the ideology, like this is how society should be in theory, in political philosophy, and then there's the policy, the existing policy. What policy should we change? What policy should we add? What policy should we take away? And I think the more we invest in the policy aspect and the governing aspect, or that area, I think will prove to benefit and possibly have more people in offices. And to add on to that briefly, I also think we should consider, while we are a third party, we should certainly run our own candidates. I think we should deeply consider also endorsing candidates who might be, and I think we have actually, off the top of my head, and in Illinois we've done this. I don't know if the national party's done this, but not endorsing candidates who might be of other parties, including some of one of the two main parties, if they believe in the values that we do and the missions and policies that we support. So yeah, basically electoralism is a huge factor that I think that we could put a bit more fuel into the tank for.
Okay, and we're back, and we didn't cut off Rowan at all. We're good. We're good there. Okay, now I got to keep an eye on the time though, just so that when we get close to that hour mark, that we know it's coming. We were lucky this time. All right, Ryan, Mitch, do you need Mitch to reiterate the question, or?
No, thanks. I understand. I
Okay.
understand that he said, if I'm mistaken, what is the most important issue is either public director relations or young captain of the Young Pirate USA. Am I in the right ballpark?
Yeah, I think so, Mitch.
Yes, depending on what position, whether it be young captain or director of PR, what is the most pressing issue that you would be addressing?
I'm going to address this as young captain. I think the most important issue we need to face is engagement, or should I say lack thereof. Now, I have managed 2 social medias. Actually, no. There's Threads, there's Instagram, there's X. 8 actually. Actually, no, 10. There's Facebook. And I've also seen the Pirate Party's chapters, and while they're not the worst, they could definitely use a little bit more engagement. Like, we could allocate some money towards advertisement for the party, and also find ways to fundraise. And how do we get those? Well, we got to go after people like in college who can really be influenced for positivity. And then those younger people will bring in more younger people and more younger people and more younger people. The cycle goes on. In turn, those people run for office, not just advertise, not just serve party functions, but run for public offices at the local, county, state, and national level. And that, to me, is the most important issue, is engagement and how we can improve. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much, Ryan. Do we have any other questions for anybody that is running for either director of PR or captain of Young Pirates? Not seeing any hands. We have one of our candidates has joined us. Stevenson, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, so you've been nominated for Lookout State Moderator.
Yeah.
You have 5 minutes to give us your pitch.
Well, right now I am currently working, trying to form the New Jersey Pirate Party. And well, most of my previous experience has been with the Reform Party, where I am the director of communications, but I've been wanting to get more involved here because I've been involved here longer than I've been involved with the Reform Party. That's one of the groups I've been with the longest, I guess, at least for the Discord. And I am not a very good speaker. I apologize, but I don't really know what to say. I did not prepare at all. So
That's quite all right. Does anybody have any questions for Stevenson for Lookout? Mitch.
Stevenson, you said that you are in a position, board position for the Reform Party. Did I just hear that correctly?
Yeah.
How do you believe that your position as a board member of another minor party in the United States, how would this help you as the state moderator, as someone who's meant to be the conflict resolution person? How do you believe your previous experience would help you with this position?
I've held a lot of positions for a lot of different groups, and in general, I have had to deal with a lot of conflict in the past. A lot of arguing, a lot of dealing with disagreement. And even if it's been with different groups that I've been involved in, whether that be political parties, whether that be non-profit, like right now I'm also the treasurer for a PAC, and that's been a lot of nonsense going on there I had to deal with. And it's just previous experience in general, just managing things, previous experience dealing with disagreements, and yeah, that's about it.
Okay, thank you for that. All right, so does anybody have any questions that they've thought about for any particular candidate for any of these positions that they didn't get answered?
I'm just calling out to see if Ty is here.
Oh, that's a good question. Ty, are you with us? Have you come back? I'm thinking no. I'm thinking Ty. I'm thinking Ty's been AFK for a while now. So, okay, Wanda, that is fine. We are pretty much all done with our business, anyways. You can always go back later and watch the rest of this on YouTube. Mitch, I'm gonna ask you to kind of give us the rundown of the form and the voting, and let us know who is our election committee.
You got it. So on the Discord, you will be able to find the Pirate National Committee election form. It is a Google Docs form. Sorry about the praxis, guys, but we wanted this to be done correctly. So if you go to the Google Docs form, you'll be able to submit it. It is in ranked choice voting, so make sure you rank your top choice first and then followed by each person as you would rank them. Of course, you could always just vote for one person. You don't have to rank every single person if you don't want to. However, you will get a more accurate vote if you take the effort to rank everyone. It's going to be pretty straightforward. The voting will close at midnight Pacific time. So we will have tomorrow the announcement, and we will let everyone know what the new board has been finalized as. The election committee will feature myself, Dustin, and I believe Ty, I don't believe is there, but Ty created the form and Ty showed me how it's done. We will have an Excel spreadsheet so you can guarantee that it has been counted correctly. It is not just going to be dependent on humans. We will be using human and machine together as a tool, as it should be. But you may go online. Voting will close at 3 a.m. Eastern, so noon Pacific or midnight Pacific.
Midnight Pacific. One other item on this: if you are nominated for multiple positions, if you happen to get elected, please have one. Oh, my timer went off. Please have one in mind that you prefer, so that if we do have somebody get elected to multiple positions, then the second place will take whichever one you don't wish to take. So I'm sure if we have that issue, Mitch, you guys at the election committee will reach out to the winners to see which ones they decide to go with. Just saying, and in that case, just have it in mind. Ron, did you have something you'd like to say?
Sorry, I was listening the whole time, but I forgot where is this form going to be located, or where can we find it? I mean,
you could find it in the Discord. If it is not in the general chat, it is in the announcements chat. Either way, you will be able to find it. It is the Pirate National Committee election form.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And also note, all of the positions and candidates are listed. So the names for everybody is also there. You shouldn't have any issues with spelling or not remembering who the candidates are. So
also, write-in candidates, unless I assume there's going to be like multiple write-in candidates, there are no write-in candidates. You have the list of candidates. These are the people that accepted the nomination. You know that there's going to be there's not going to be much conflict. Don't nominate Furman Supreme for captain. He's not going to accept it.
Okay. Do we have any other questions? Anything else? By the way, anybody that is on the Pirate Discord may vote in this election. So feel free to get out there and vote for. You've seen us talk. Most of us have had a chance to give our elevator speeches, and we've had some questions asked back and forth. You can use this live stream later on, once it becomes just a regular YouTube video, to go back and listen if you want to hear from us again or be refreshed of what we've said. So yeah, get out, everybody that's part of you are a pirate, you can vote. Just do it. Like to see a huge turnout on this and get a lot of people to vote.
Where can we find the ballot at?
It's in the Discord.
Yes.
I don't see it in the Discord.
You don't see it? Hang on.
Well, I'll tell you what, gang, just so we don't have any confusion, I'm going to post another link. I'm going to post the same link in the announcements page, so there's no confusion. You may go to the announcements page in the Discord, and that is where you will find them.
And you'll just send that out as a sailor. That'll ping everybody.
Yes.
That way it'll be really easy to find.
Yeah, ping coming in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you may vote at that link.
I have it pulled up now. That's where I've been getting my list of candidates from. All right. Yeah. Okay. So we are a little ahead of time. Mitch, you have a speaker coming up. Is that correct?
I do have a speaker. I could actually text him right now to see if he could pop in a little early, and maybe we can get this started right away.
That's fine with me if you want to ping him. We are kind of in a little bit of a hold at the moment because we got through that way faster than I thought we would. Did somebody have a question or something?
We had a question on the Discord asking what candidates are we fielding from No You Infinity.
What candidates are we fielding? Well, there are no national. The only real national candidates ever are presidential candidates, and this year is not a presidential year. So that being said, in many places this year there are local elections, and that would be more a question to each individual state party to see if they have candidates right now or not. At the moment, the Pennsylvania Pirate Party does not have any endorsed candidates, as far as I know. We may have some people that are running as pirates, but nobody's been officially endorsed by the state party. But that doesn't mean they can't run. So That being said, I'm assuming that's what the question is. If the question is who are the candidates for each position, those are on the form, so they are listed there, and you can go back to, like I said earlier, you can go back and rewatch this once we have concluded for this evening, and it is on the U.S. Pirates YouTube. I'm going to actually take the moment to reset the stream so we don't get caught unawares again, and it is a good time to do that. And we're back. Okay. We have any other discussion that we need to? Any other discussion? Anything? After this. After our speaker, we will have our crypto panel, and that's going to be about it. We'll have some. Anybody wants to make any closing remarks? Anybody wants to plug anything any of the pirate parties are doing or anything like that? We'll have an opportunity to do that. And then that's all we have planned for our conference. I think so far we've done pretty well. And Mitch, any?
Yes, I just texted him. He will be hopping on shortly.
Okay, great. And once he comes on, I will give you the floor to introduce him, and then he can obviously give us a little more background on himself then. So,
sounds like a plan.
All right. Did you have anything good for lunch?
Yes, we had Chinese food.
Oh, well, that sounds appropriate at the Barbary Coast.
We're right on the edge of Chinatown here, so.
Yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. So, good Chinese food.
Yes. You know what?
All right.
I'm always a fan of fried rice, but they had beef tomato fried rice, and I don't think I've ever had beef tomato fried rice.
Oh,
my
I
goodness.
don't think I have either.
You had to get it.
I had to. Said, oh, that's new and exciting. Why not?
Sure. Well, that's the thing about traveling is you oftentimes get to have little food adventures.
Right. Exactly.
Oh. Yeah, that's a good thing. All right. Mitch, do you have anything that we need for to clean up anything or anything anybody needs to be aware of while we're burning a little bit of time?
I'll be right back. I'm going to step outside.
You got it. Darren will be right back. I would just say, believe during the speech he has a PowerPoint he wants to accompany him, so he may do the screen sharing option. Other than that, I think everything is going to be pretty standard as to what we've seen so far from everyone who's spoken today. I don't want to give away too much of the game. I think I want him to introduce himself and what he plans on doing, but understand that the speech that's going to be coming up has a lot to do with agriculture patents and how it affects farmers in this country, and I do believe that it's something that I think very much is a pirate issue that is very much under discussed when it comes to the pirate sphere. So I'm very excited to have him speak today.
All right. Yeah. Agricultural patents are definitely a big issue with farmers anyways. So yeah, that's good stuff. So look forward to hearing that stuff. One other bit of housekeeping. What method do you plan to use to get out the results of our election?
The method will probably be Discord announcement as well as a post onto the website. We will not be hiding the link or the Excel spreadsheet. We will obviously, not only will we be hand counting the vote to make sure that everything was calculated correctly, but we will also make sure that the Excel spreadsheet was sent over so there's clear transparency. There is no, smoke-filled room about how we chose captain of the Pirate Party. We will make sure that everyone's voice has been heard and is being heard.
All right. And once again, I will encourage everybody out there that's watching this or hearing this or is on our Discord to please cast a vote. And it's not just one vote, it's 10 or more, actually, because it's ranked choice. So go ahead and vote pirate, because you really get to vote for a lot of pirates now. So that is good stuff.
And that includes Captain of Young Pirates USA. Folks, young kids, if you're watching, if you're maybe 16 and can't vote, guess what? You'll be able to vote come 2028. Young Pirates USA is an organization that's meant for you. You know, we need people who are 18 and older to be representatives for their pirate party at PNC. However, there is a place for you if you're not 18, and there is a place for you in the political sphere if you're not even able to vote yet. We have young Democrats, we have young Republicans, hell, we even have young Greens and young Libertarians. It's about time that young people in this country had young pirates that they could latch onto as well.
Okay, so you know what I just realized? We've been doing this all day, and we've talked about the Discord several times, but we haven't told anybody how to get on to the Discord. And if anybody wants to go to uspirates.org/join, those are pretty much all of our relevant links, including a link to joining the Discord. So if you're new to us, you're just seeing us for the first time, that's the link. I'm pretty sure I have that link in the YouTube description. And I think I actually have the link to the ballot also in the YouTube description, which it's hard to see right now because I only have the stream page, and the stream page doesn't show me that stuff. So that's kind of dumb, but that's what it is. That's where things are at with my end. But yeah, all our links are there on uspirates.org/join. Get on the Discord. That's where most of our stuff is going down. Let's see here. Sean is our guest, Mitch.
Yes.
He has joined us.
Hello.
All right. Glad to see you here. We ran a little bit faster than we had expected, so glad you could join us. I'm going to kick it over to Mitch, and then we're going to give you the floor, and we'll go from there. Mitch, go ahead.
Well, folks, I don't want to keep you waiting. I have a good friend of mine who is here to talk about a very pirate-aligned issue that doesn't get a lot of love or light, which the fact that we get this opportunity today is very exciting to me. Words won't do it justice from me, so let me kick it over to Mr. Sean Tobin.
Well, thank you, Mitch, and thank you, everyone at the Pirate Party, for hosting me. I really appreciate the time that you are all putting into this. And if I may, I was hoping to share my screen. Is that something I'm able to do via?
I think so. If at the bottom, it's like, I think it's the third button in, start screen sharing. I don't know if I.
Oh, sure. Yeah, here we go. Okay.
Here we go.
So, hold on one second. I apologize. I haven't done this in a while, and I kind of want to make sure that I'm able to look at my notes while still being able to Are you all able to see the PowerPoint, or?
Not at the moment.
Not at the moment.
We saw it previously, but it went away.
Yeah, I apologize. Some technical difficulties. 1 second. Again, sorry about this, folks. I'm running into some technical difficulties.
You weren't even supposed to start until 2 o'clock. I think this just puts it.
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Oh, okay. I think we might be here. Let's see. And then let's share the screen.
There we go.
All right. And then I think we should be able to go into presenter mode, and then I should be able to. So you guys can see the screen without any of the notes. Is that right?
That's right.
Yes.
Perfect. All right, cool. This is exactly what I wanted. So, again, thank you all for having me. I really appreciate this opportunity to speak in front of the Pirate Party and to talk about agriculture and how that is tied in with the intellectual property rights and patent industry in the US and around the world. I think it's an industry that's not talked about enough, and hopefully I can shine some light and foster some discussion about it. So a little bit about me. My name is Sean Tobin, a crop scientist from Illinois. And again, I can't thank you guys enough for having me to foster some discussion and hopefully raise some questions. I'm an alumni of the University of Illinois, graduating in crop sciences, agroecology. I'm a Peace Corps volunteer, and overall, I'm an agronomist. And currently, I'm here in DC working for the USDA. And I've spent time working in fields in Illinois, California, and in Vietnam. And it was in Vietnam that the issue of seed patents and seed piracy was brought to my attention. So much so that I would have this discussion with friends, family, coworkers, and the like. And one of my good friends, Mitch DeVillo, also found this topic very interesting. And so we both thought this would be a great discussion to have today. So let's get into it. So just a little bit of context. In America, most of the seeds that farmers use are not theirs. They don't own these seeds. These are, for lack of a better term, rented seeds. And they are rented from agrochemical companies, whether that's Bayer, DuPont, Corteva, Syngenta, and the like. This form of agriculture has been pretty standard since the 1980s, and the rationale behind renting seeds is due to the fact that most seeds, corn, soy, cash crops that you can think of, have intellectual property rights behind them. And there's strict laws that enforce these IPs. So to get a better understanding of the current situation, I think we can take a step back and review some agricultural history, right? So in today's ever-changing world, some things stay the same, right? Like the sun rises and sets, people wake up, go to work, people read and write, all that stuff. And generally, people like to eat 3 square meals a day. However, every year it seems that humans run into new issues, ever-changing issues, whether that's the world population growing, our acreage of arable land is shrinking, climate change has unpredictable effects that can alter our world and significantly damage crops. And nowadays, I think we can see on a very public level that politics can either foster or fog trade relationships with other countries that can affect food security throughout the world. But thankfully, to overcome some of these issues, scientists every day are coming up with new advancements in the world of agriculture, mostly through gene editing and gene modification, but also through regenerative agriculture, chemical agriculture, and more. So, to take a flashback, humans have been farming for not long, just about 12,000 years or so, And while a lot has happened within that 12,000 years, we're going to start our story back in the 1940s when Vice President and agricultural businessman Henry A. Wallace visited Mexico and was shocked to see some of the poor conditions that a lot of Mexican farmers were facing. Poor soil, lack of proper machinery, and poor varieties of corn, which 80% at the time of the Mexican population relied a lot on corn, 80% of them. Quote, it would take a Mexican farmer 500 hours to produce 1 bushel, which is about 50 pounds of corn. That is 50 times more than that of an Iowa farmer back in the 1940s. It was unthinkable. So to overcome this, an American agronomist by the name of Norman Borlaug, with the help of the American government, the Mexican government, and the Rockefeller Group, worked together to be a part of a project that would soon be dubbed the Green Revolution. So from 1940 to 1954, Borlaug and his team were able to develop a new variety of a semi-dwarf cereal that was disease-resistant, pest-resistant, and was more water efficient. And this was through, over a decade of work of conventional breeding practices from northern Mexico and southern Mexico. And so for context, in 1943, Mexico imported half of its wheat requirements. But by 1956, Mexico has become completely self-sufficient. And by 1964, Mexico was exporting 500,000 tons of wheat. The Green Revolution was fantastic. And although a lot of it depended on the adoption of machinery, cultivation, and large-scale agricultural practices, as well as support from foreign governments, investors, creditors, and all that, low-wage agricultural workers, the Green Revolution led to millions of lives being saved. Nutrition increased in most of South America, Asia, Africa, and a better understanding of the role of genetics within agriculture. So why does this matter? Why am I bringing this up? Well, I mentioned this history to highlight the significant scientific achievements of agriculture. However, there's also a socioeconomic challenge that we run into today, and one that farmers run into almost every day today. So up until the 1970s, plants and natural occurring things were not considered patentable. They just weren't. However, with the introduction of GMOs and GE, genetically engineered plants and animals, there's been a question of whether GMOs are natural organisms or products of human ingenuity. In the 1970s, the United States Supreme Court decided that this is a product of human ingenuity. And slowly from that time, more and more companies have slowly patented and had a stronghold on the seed industry. And nowadays, over 60% of seeds are patented, meaning that farmers need to buy these seeds once a year and sell off whatever they yield, but they don't own any of this product. So what are some of the consequences that we run into? Well, domestically, one of the consequences is that having a monopoly of seeds and crops amongst about 5 agrochemical companies, that's DuPont, Bayer, Corteva, Syngenta. Syngenta is not even a US-owned company, it's China Chemical, and others tend to sue farmers and sometimes would even imprison farmers for, cases that are sometimes the genetic material will drift off into another farmer's crop, and that is not due to the farmer himself, right? However, if Monsanto Bayer now, Corteva or any of these other agrochemical companies find out about that, they are pretty privy to sue that farmer. Internationally, this has also caused some issues. There's a case in 2016 when a Chinese national, Robert Mo, pleaded guilty to stealing seeds and seed data from Iowa, from the agrochemical company Pioneer, which is the very same agro-business started by Vice President Henry A. Wallace. So why does this matter? Because generally, as I mentioned, people like to eat 3 square meals a day. And the issue can arise that only a handful of companies own a majority of the world's food supply. So not only that, but the influence that they have in law and patents can make these companies ethically questionable and could have a lot of sway in day-to-day society. So before I leave, I wanted to pose a hypothetical to you all today. If you had the power to change the system, if you wanted to change the system, what would you want to do? Thank you.
Justin, I'm assuming you have a question?
I guess, well, yes, a combination of that and like answering what I guess you just asked.
Sure. Go ahead.
Well, my thought on most like manufacturing and everything else is to attempt to decentralize things to some extent, whatever is possible. But realistically, right now, most land is owned by existing companies. So it would be hard to do that at this point using large swaths of land. Something I was looking at as a potential, to some extent, solution is trying to use more advanced technology. And there's much more access to computers these days. Use simulation-based technology and cheaper hydroponics like self-watering pots, and then automating 3D printed manufacturing and molds to create things that form fit to windows and rooms indoors to some extent for apartments, and just make it so that people can plant things in what little land they have effectively, while maximizing their own production to minimize what they intake, or diversify the supplies of things at localities to make manufacturing possible locally, and at least supplement their own intake if the monopolies fail at some point, to have a place to start from. What I wanted to ask you was, based on things that you've seen, like how feasible would it be to approach growing things indoors right now, and attempt decentralization under current circumstances?
Yeah, thank you. That's a great question. You know, we are in I would say, exploratory phase of urban agriculture, where a lot of cities are putting money into it, both federally and at a state level, where a lot of cities are utilizing urban agriculture and open to funding it. I also think that there's a rise in backyard gardens, which has been very popular, which is nice. Caveat to that, though, is that a lot of city people, in my experience, grow crops in their backyard without taking soil tests. Taking a soil test, and the government will do that for you, right? Like, or you can do it yourself. But that stuff's important, because if you're growing tomatoes in lead-based soils, you're getting lead tomatoes. You don't want that. So being able to have an idea if you are in fertile ground or not, it's one thing if it grows, it's another thing if it's actually absorbing the right nutrients or if it's absorbing metals. So I think having clean access to clean soil is important, and I think a lot of cities and governments are very open to the idea of alternative forms of agriculture. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. I guess another question I would possibly pose is if you were to have the opportunity to make open source software or something that could assist the average person with doing at-home agriculture, what kind of functionality would you advise incorporating into that to make it easier for the average person to possibly do agriculture at a professional level or closer to, while asking for assistance and making it easier for people to figure out what assistance they should get? If possible.
That's an excellent question. However, I apologize. Software-wise, that's out of my jurisdiction. I'm not really sure if there's a software available that would allow people an easier time to gain access to urban agriculture. And I also don't think I have the authority to speak on that. However, I do think that like there are a lot of, I apologize, this is the best I can muster up, but I do think there's a lot of good resources for the common man to pick up urban agriculture. Most of those resources are either from the NRCS, Natural Resource Conservation Service of the USDA, or it's your local state land grant university will give you the best option for those kind of things. And they will give you essentially the handbook of how to start urban agriculture and all of that. Does that make does that help? Does that answer your question?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
I
Thank you.
have something that it kind of goes down that same path a little bit, but is there any movement at all in with farmers to have their own like open source GMOs or open source seeds, that sort of thing? Is there a co-op or anything like that, a nonprofit that might be considering working on something like that?
Oh, my question, Drew.
Did I steal it?
I was going to ask that. I mean, is there any? I mean, and by extension, is there something like the Pirate Bay for seeds? Can we go out and steal some Monsanto seeds?
Ooh, excellent question. So there's not quite a Pirate Bay for seeds, but there is some source of open, I guess you would call it open source seeds. There's a seed bank that will give you and mail you free seeds of whatever you want, right? Like if you wanted to grow sunflowers, they'll mail you sunflowers. Yeah, you might have to pay a subscription like $40 a year or something like that, but you get access to whatever you want, you know, and it's an international thing. I first heard about it in Peace Corps. I never used it, just to be frank with you all, but there is an organization that does seed access in the name of sustainability and food security. So there are people out there that are, you know, willing to give you what you want.
Cool.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does actually.
Okay.
That covers everything I was asking too. Oh, there, Dustin found something for us already.
Well, I had looked out. I had gone down this rabbit hole before. So
oh, okay. And that's all right. Okay. We have any other questions for our guest here, for Sean? I was gonna say, come on, Mitch, you gotta have a question.
No, of course. Sean, I believe the number that you had posted was 60% of all seeds are owned by corporations. Is there I guess this is a two-part question. Is there a way to begin reversing such process to where we can get seeds back into the hands of farmers? And I noticed you said that genetically altered seeds are thus patentable. How much genetic altering is needed for them to say, well, this is a whole new seed, we get a whole new patent on it? Similar to the way that you might see, you know, insulin, they may change a slight product in the formula so then they could redo the patent even though it's fundamentally the same thing.
Ooh, those are two good questions. I will start with the latter. You don't need much, right? Like if you like slightly edit, tomatoes a good example. This was the first GMO plant that we have in the United States, and there are certain receptors in it that you can turn on or off. And it was a little cruder back in the 90s, but now we have things like CRISPR that can really get into like the nitty gritty of gene editing. But to answer your question, you don't need much, right? You just need to change maybe one thing to validate that this is your product. And in terms of getting farmers access to their own seeds is very difficult. I say that because most farmers, it depends. In the Midwest, where I'm from, a lot of farmers do corn and soy, and that's like big operations, right? You want acres of land of all corn. Next year, you do acres of land of all soy. Maybe next year, you do acres of land of all like hay. They call that crop rotation. It's kind of like a weak term of crop rotation, but it's still crop rotation. And it's way easier to buy seed that you know is very sturdy and then harvest it all at the end, as opposed to today's modern system breeding seeds, right? Like actually taking account of like what's working and what's not working. And farmers in America are doing that. In the Dakotas is a good example, Minnesota, and places that may not have the most love from the government or from their state. So a lot of farmers end up having to take up that burden on their own. And this is something that's a really good question, because I don't want to come off as rude, but oftentimes, and you see this in Ethiopia, you see it in Nebraska, and you see it in Vietnam, or at least I've seen it in these places. But a farmer is not willing to change his ways until he needs to, right? So like places like in the Dakotas where farmers are struggling and possibly going bankrupt, that's when they're willing to change their ways. So in that instance, then you may have influence over a farmer and be able to change into something like permaculture or seed saving, and kind of not relying on agrochemical companies to pay their, give them their paychecks and things like that. That's probably your best bet, is finding a farmer that's willing to listen, because otherwise they're in a rat race and it's kind of hard to take those blinders off, if you know what I'm saying. Does that make sense?
It does.
All right. Apologies if that makes sense after every question. I just want to make sure that there's no, I know sometimes I can use slang.
I think I'm gonna take the opportunity to pause and reset the stream, and just because we're at a good place to pause at the moment, and so we're gonna
hear.
We're back on. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Sean. You were saying.
Well, you know what I was going to say. Is there any other questions, either about seed patents or seed piracy? I think, if I may, one of the issues I experienced in Vietnam, and that happens a lot in Southeast Asia, and I think you guys would enjoy this, is that there's seed piracy, which comes in the form of people being able to access genetically inferior seeds, but labeling them as if they're like Bayer or if they're like a Monsanto seed, and selling it off to the general public. That's a problem, because that introduces bad genetics into the wild and into like corporate lands or just like private lands too. And that causes its own issue. Like how do you regulate something that's just kind of like a Pandora's box? And I wanted to bring that up just to make you all aware that that is an issue outside of the US.
So one of the things that I've seen in the US, and I think you touched on it earlier, is that I know at one point that the big agriculture seed companies were saying that our seeds are sterile. They're not going to reproduce. But that's not really the case, right? Like, so they can reproduce them, but it's also against your agreement that you sign up with when you start buying the seeds. So I could see like a level of piracy to an extent of, okay, well, I'm going to keep my seeds and keep it on the DL and just keep growing stuff at those seeds. That's one of the things that I've seen in the past where people get themselves in trouble. They get sued because they're using seeds that are patented that they didn't pay their licensing fee for. And also, like you said earlier, that sometimes, just through nature, seeds will get onto a neighbor's property, and even though they don't have any control over that, if they're, things are tested, they also can get in trouble, which to me is ridiculous. But do you see, is that the sort of thing that you see? Do you see people, some farmers keeping seeds and using them over, or is that the sort of thing where the risk is not really worth it?
I think by and large, most of the time, farmers don't like to risk that stuff because farming, at least in the United States, is such a risky business that a lot of farmers don't like to play around with their money because they can lose the farm. I know that's kind of like bet the farm. It's like a terminology, but it's true. And additionally, I think, I'm not a psychologist, but like I do think that mentality herds a lot of farmers, a lot of American farmers at least, into just doing what they think is safe, which benefits a lot of these agrochemical companies, right? A lot of their pitch, a lot of their sales is that they're safe. Buy this corn, it's safe. They'll make a profit on it. Buy this soy, it's good, it's safe. Make a profit on it. Use my chemicals, use my pesticides, it's safe. You'll make a profit on it. And a lot of them end up doing that, but a lot of them get hooked on it, right? And instead of like diversifying their agriculture, which is, I think nowadays the more standard, or it's slowly becoming more accepted within modern agriculture. It's like up in the air.
So that you just brought up another interesting point, is a lot of these products, a lot of these seeds are meant to go with particular pest chemicals, repellent chemicals. So once you get locked into one of the seed types, now you're locked into their companion product, which is their Roundup or Roundup, whatever whatever their pest repellent happens to be, or their so
exactly.
I think, to me, I think that's where the suing farmers that are basically innocent, and the then locking you into that monopolistic cycle of our product only works really with this product, or if you don't use the Roundup and the right seeds, you end up with lower yields or more issues with pests, that sort of thing. I think those are some of the bigger abuses that we see, and they're essentially monopolies.
Absolutely, and like one more thing, because I know time is kind of running short here, but like it should be noted that most farmers, and in America legally that term kind of gets like conflated with excuse me, I'm gonna move you guys. That term gets conflated with landowner, but like most farmers are 65 and up in terms of age. A lot of people don't know what they're going to do with the family farm. And so sometimes you'll see instances where companies like Kraft, PepsiCo, they come in, they commandeer the land, they buy up everything, and then they just do monoculture throughout either the Midwest, like centralized agriculture. It's a theme in the United States, and it's worked for the last 40 years, but it's not perfect. And I think some of those cracks are starting to show. I think a lot of agronomists are trying to figure out how to transition out of this system into a newer system through ways like, permaculture or like through agroecology. So.
Yeah, no, that's cool stuff. Dustin, go ahead.
Sorry, another thing in regards to permaculture. Are they using any kind of simulation software to see how different environments, behaviors of different kinds of plants being planted in different environments and ecosystems could integrate in advance of laying out these kinds of permaculture models? Or is it like more of a set of standard practices rather than a simulation-based approach in the more professional sections of things?
That's a good question. I think a lot of simulation happens with forestry in terms of like reintroducing forests into the Great Plains or in the South or in Savannah and all those areas. But when it comes to like permaculture, I don't think so. I think permaculture is definitely more of a science, but it's also an art. And a lot of people like to experiment with crop integration, weaving crops at the same time, cover cropping and all that. And I think, it's a little hard to math out with the system, and it's something you just kind of need to do in real time.
All right. We have any other questions or comments for Sean? Oh, Mitch, you've got your hand up. Go ahead.
I got one more question I wanted to throw out there. Just to really drive home what this is about. This is the Pirate National Conference. We're here to elect a board, and remember the Pirate Party and celebrate the Pirate Party and all our policies and platforms. And being that copyright and patent reform are big issues of the Pirate Party, I kind of wanted to pick your brain once on that, where, oftentimes we as the Pirate Party will promote right to work, or right to repair rather, I'm sorry. Where if, we will say farmers should be able to repair the equipment that they purchased. It's theirs. It's yours because you bought it. Is there, when the pirate position officially is to abolish patents, and the pirate position is to cut copyright to 14 years after the death of the artist, which typically is meant for works of art, such as movies or music or whatever. How would those policies translate to the agriculture field? Would it be able to be a cut and paste, this would help farmers, or would that have to be tweaked in order to help the agriculture industry?
So you're asking, how would a more right to work policy based?
No, what I'm really asking is, so the Pirate Party, our position is abolishing patents and cutting copyright to 14 years after the death of the creator. Yeah. Would those specific positions, if applied to the agriculture field, is that something that at the end of the day helps farmers like we anticipate would help artists? Or is there another method in which you would suggest the Pirate Party goes about trying to help farmers with their patent rules?
That's an excellent question. I think to a degree, a small degree, I do think having patents help farmers kind of give them guidelines, color within the lines. But in today's modern agriculture, we have way too many, right? Like 6 agrochemical companies own more than half of the seed supply, which is the food supply in the United States and the world. That's wrong. Farmers, if they want to work on a John Deere tractor, they are liable to being sued because of intellectual property rights and patents, right? And so like farmers slowly, they think of themselves as landowners, but now they are slowly becoming renters in today's society. And I think that's wrong. And I think like it takes away from their ability to produce clean food efficiently. And so like if they want to do factory farming, it's fine. But I think that factory farming lends to a lot of issues, both environmentally and economically. So I think being able to reduce the patent laws and increase antitrust laws in the states will do a lot of good. And I think that's my final position. Yeah.
All right. Well, this has been awesomely informative. Another good discussion today. Dustin, you have another question, comment? Oh no, that was a fat finger, wasn't it?
My fingers are too fat today.
Yeah, okay, gotcha. I'm starting to recognize it now, but I'm still behind. Yeah, thank you, Sean. That was an awesome presentation. I appreciate it. Mitch, thank you for getting Sean here to speak for us, speak to us. Yeah, that's good stuff. I'm gonna ask one more time. Do we have anything else that anybody wants to ask or talk at Sean before we let him go? Not seeing any hands. Mitch, I don't see your hand. And thank you so much, Sean. This has been great. If you want to look back, you'll be able to go to the US Pirates YouTube page, and your presentation will be part of our part 2. So
fantastic. Thank you guys so much for having me. This has been fantastic, and I hope you have a good rest of your day.
Oh yeah, you too. Thank you so much.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye, Sean.
All right. Well, I mean, I think so far we've had some pretty good discussions. We've had some great guests. Good stuff. We are a little bit ahead of time because I had a lot more time for candidates and nomination speeches, and we didn't take that long. So we're running about a half hour ahead. Is there anything else we need to discuss, or should we just move into our cryptocurrency panel?
I'm fine with moving right into it.
Yeah, I'm ready.
We're good. All right. Well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna just for my security's sake, I'm gonna stop the live stream. Okay. All right. So
let's go over what the schedule remaining is.
The remaining schedule is I have us the crypto panel, which now that we have an extra half hour, that can go an hour. We have at 4:00 Pacific time, I have us with closing remarks and anything anybody else wants to bring up that's personal privilege motions or anything like that. So I have a lot of time budgeted for that. I don't think we're going to need it. And then kind of as a last minute thing, we'll be ending by 4:30 is what I have on my schedule. Is there anything anybody needs to add to the schedule, wants to throw in? Like I said, you will have, after the crypto panel, you will have some chance to do your personal plugs, things like that. Anything else in your state pirate parties, we'll have time to talk about any of that stuff and before we sign off. But yeah, that's what I got. So we ready to go into cryptocurrency?
Yes,
I think so.
All right. So boy, cryptocurrency's had a heck of a heck of a run. We've got one solid cryptocurrency. We've got the original Bitcoin. How much is that worth now? it's gone pretty crazy. But we've also had some bad cryptocurrencies, and we've gone. There's some different technologies that have come along. So I think, let's see here. I have a bunch of questions here. We see. I would say if people are pro crypto, I think they've been seeing a lot with this administration, whether you think it's above board or not. But cryptocurrency has been getting some mainstream adoption, and so what do anybody see as governments adopting, creating their own cryptocurrencies? And problems with that. Since we are a political party, we can see like what are the pros and cons of using a cryptocurrency or a digital dollar, for lack of a better term. Kind of throw that out there first. If anybody has anything to, Mitch, go ahead.
I'll start by saying I support alternate forms of money. I do. I don't want to say I subscribe to the Benjamin Tucker philosophy of the monopoly on money, but I do believe that a opportunity to have a diversification of means of currency is always a good thing. That being said, as I look at crypto, I would be remiss to say I understand it completely, because I truly don't. Based on what I can only describe as a layman's perspective, it seems to be stocks with an extra step, gambling with an extra step. I'm going to buy something, hope I get my money back, hope I make money off it, and sell it before I lose my money. And maybe that's all it's good for. Maybe I'm missing something more essential to it. But what I've seen crypto typically used for is pump and dump schemes and speculation. So I'm not sure if those are sustainable uses of crypto. But I do see the potential in crypto, but the usage I've seen out of crypto is typically limited to those two things.
Yeah, I think part of crypto getting actual legitimacy would mean that a lot of these scams and pump and dump schemes would have to really go by the wayside, or have the bad actors would have to be face some consequences for them. Yeah, I think that may be part of the reluctance of mainstream financial institutions and governments from adopting cryptocurrency. I think cryptocurrency does have a lot of potential. I think right now, though, it is exactly as you said. It's full of pump and dump schemes and rug pulls and just plain up theft. I think all of those things combined makes the space heavily volatile, and we've got a lot of fraud, and potentially the whole thing could go boom if quantum computing actually gets off the ground. So that's another thing to discuss. If anybody else has something, put your hand up. I'll recognize you on anything cryptocurrency. Go ahead, Dustin.
Hey, so I would say, first off, there are different projects and groups that have specifically been designing quantum-proofed encryption methods, and some of them do already exist. One of the more popular ones that I'm familiar with is crystal lattice-based, which is like a area of material science / physics, and they've designed encryption algorithms based off of that even quantum computers would find very difficult to try and crack. So some methods for that are already in existence, and likely at some point, particularly if quantum advances, we might see cryptocurrency come into existence that would be quantum resilient, I would say. Also, I would say from my perspective, the use case, and I am sorry if this is like not a great view on it or something, or take on it. The legitimate use case that I see for cryptocurrency usually is as like a decentralized or mercenary method of hosting a internet that is impartial, but it exists as a layer on top of an ISP. So that part is unfortunate and would possibly be good to like integrate into mesh networks as well. But the good thing is like crypto miners to some extent are mercenary and impartial server operators that are not purely corporate. They're mercenaries that you're basically paying through putting money into the cryptocurrency to operate those servers and keep the crypto algorithm complex and operating and secure. Something that might be good for us to push is, I guess, well, to figure out and proof the legitimate use cases of crypto and spread awareness of that. And maybe encourage people to only use it for the legitimate use cases instead of trying to use it for everything. Like if you have self-hostable apps, for example, and then you just put, like everyone has their own version of the self-hostable app, you could just store information in crypto to keep it secure and away from anyone manipulating it. And that's a great use case, I think. It helps people have confidence that you're being fair in what you're doing. Use cases like that, I think, are good for society. And not having it localized to a mesh network or something like that, or ISP, where an authoritarian group might end up taking over it at some point, is good. Because your mercenary internet is decentralized over the entire planet. So it's far less likely for an authoritarian regime to be able to take that from you. And yeah, I guess that's the use case in my perspective of crypto. There's lots of, a majority of use cases are bad use cases right now, I would argue, but there are legitimate use cases, I think.
All right, Darren.
Okay, so I have, as usual, a unique perspective on the whole crypto and Web3 phenomenon that is that's seems to have died down, but it's not going to go away because there's a lot of money tied up in it. I come at it from the point of a technical developer. I've built things in crypto. I've built things in Web3 and cryptography-based decentralized frameworks. So much so that I'm actually having to go testify in a trial about some crypto rug puller scam. Because in my early days, I was indiscriminate about who I took contracts from. So I've seen it all, pretty much. I believe there are legitimate uses for the Web3 technology. And one thing that I'm surprised that nobody in the Pirate Party has actually talked about, because I've thought about it a lot, and I really want to get a project like this off the ground, is blockchain voting. I haven't heard very much talk about that, even though a publicly verifiable, zero knowledge proof of how somebody voted would be a great thing towards actually building trust in our voting systems. We have cases here in San Francisco that one of the Democratic Socialists here were infiltrated by some of the more quote unquote moderate Democrats, but they actually turned out to be right-wing provocateurs that corrupted their voting process because they were using pretty much what we're doing, Google Sheets, and some of the folks corrupted that voting process, and it turned into a huge scandal here. With blockchain voting, that sort of scandal would not happen. This all being said, the current state of crypto is pretty dismal, and that's because the current state of business here in the United States is pretty dismal. It's been affected by the tech people here in Silicon Valley. A lot of them are unethical bastards. I personally had a boss that said that his heart. Are you guys hearing the fireworks here? Yeah. I personally had a boss that said that his Harvard ethics class was bullshit, and he was quoted in TechCrunch saying things like that. This is the mentality of most of these tech CEOs, and it leaks over into things like you get crypto rug pulls because people think that that's a perfectly legitimate thing to do to people. You get things like OpenAI and Sam Altman saying we can take anything that's on the internet that we want because it's out there, and nobody owns it because it's on the internet. Well, no, that's not right. There's a lot of problems with the technology today that stem from purely criminal human beings, and we really need to make a point of turning these people into examples. Really, I think. And that's the only way that we're going to get any progress with some of these technologies.
So that brings up kind of one of these other questions that I have here, is where do we stand on regulation? If we want to make these things clearly, some of these rug pulls and straight up frauds. Do we need more regulation? Do we need things that are spelled out? Or do we just need to push for actual enforcement of your traditional fraud and scam laws?
I think that we actually have enough laws on the books right now. We don't need to go adding new laws. We need to go after the people that are criminal or that are taking advantage of people right now in ways that are predictable. The SEC case that I am testifying in December is all about somebody who broke existing laws. They wouldn't, and it was all stuff it's all wire fraud laws because he went across state lines trying to solicit funds for this crypto venture that he lied. He said he had an AI stock or an AI arbitrage bot that he was using. That he had hired me to write, and when he couldn't tell me how he wanted it to work, I said I can't write this, and I went on, and the guy kept selling it as if he'd written this bot, but he was just making the trades himself, and he lost everything. So that's the sort of thing. There's laws against that. And
yeah, snake oil sales. We have a snake oil salesman in the White House. Yeah, so I mean, the snake oil salesmen are not going away anytime soon. Yeah. I just wish that we would start to enforce the laws that they're already breaking. Mm-hmm. So here's something else that I'm kicking around is: does cryptocurrency need an organization that's an industry organization that can put a stamp of approval on a particular cryptocurrency? Like if a new cryptocurrency comes along, this industry standards organization comes and looks at it and says, you're doing things right, you're doing things above board, and so there's governance and things that don't have to be government laws, but the quote unquote free market can come up with industry standard organizations that can, if you voluntarily put that seal of approval on your cryptocurrency, because you've been audited or whatever through this organization, maybe that's a better way to push it. But that's the sort of thing where you need actors to do such a thing.
Yeah. I think the interesting thing about this is that all the information you need to make those choices for yourself is out there on the blockchain. And there are some websites like that. There's one that I use that's that you can look up any address on the blockchain and see like how many coins it's holding or whatever, or you can look up the market cap of a particular coin. I'm not sure that I would trust anything any government agency told me. But
well, I wouldn't be talking about a government agency. I'm talking about an industry standards organization that would be, where you'd have members that join to govern to behave in a set specific way. So that's what
I think that the website that runs this, I keep forgetting what it's called. It's like Ether or something, but there's a whole group of websites for each different chain, and you can go and look up the market cap on every single coin on there. And if it's below a certain point, it's not really a legitimate coin. And anybody can spin up a cryptocurrency.
Dustin, go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay. So my argument for standards, as with most things, might be we should probably have like some democratic systems for establishing a score of the quality, quote unquote, of a crypto, perhaps, for people to use as a basis for making decisions. A good approach for that, in my opinion, would be to develop a standard of code and performance analysis, I guess, that is unbiased. That way, people performing new entry into a market can just utilize existing code to run tests for themselves. That way, no policies we're developing are hurting new competition to the market by over bureaucratizing things, I guess. Because you have to be a little bit careful with that with technology. You need to develop standards for tests and how to run tests that are verifiable by multiple parties, not develop, like, I would say we've fallen into traps sometimes with standard organizations where they develop bureaucracies that make it much more expensive for a market to run in the first place and effectively help make monopolies. So developing standards about how to run tests to test quality that many parties can use to verify things as they're happening might be good, and then use that as a standard for people in the general public to use, but not necessarily making an organization that's an authority of this is exactly how you're doing, this is exactly how you have to qualify. More just developing a means by which to test that you qualify and making it enforce that you have to allow other people to test as well, and be able to challenge you. Sorry, that's what I meant. Drew, you might be talking on mute. I could see your mouth moving, but not.
I am talking on mute. My apologies. I was rambling a little bit anyways. So let me just ask this. What do we see as in the next 5 to 10 years for cryptocurrency? Are we going to have an implosion? Are we going to have more of the same? Just continue like fighting with a lot of bad actors? Are we going to see some mass adoption? Are we going to see a government adopt things? Go ahead, Mitch.
Well, I would say that there is a future I'm hoping for, and then a future I expect. The one I'm hoping for is more so what you said, Drew. I guess for lack of a better term, I think I would kind of rather see a crypto guild pop up. Just crypto experts who know what they're doing that can kind of say like, hey, these are the crypto coins. You want to design a crypto coin, get in the guild. And, that does provide then alternate forms of monetary, diversification that you could use. But I don't foresee that happening. I think that right now we kind of operate in a wild west of crypto. And I think that what is likely going to happen
is there's probably going to be a large governmental overcorrection. And then from that point, it would have to be cleaning up the mess of how much government needs to be in crypto.
I think there's a lot of. I don't disagree with that. I think that's probably what we're going to see. I think one of the problems with our financial system in general right now is there is a mass amount of just straight up speculation, and speculation on anything that somebody thinks that they can make a buck on, or make a quick buck on. This goes back to even like the 2008 financial crisis with all the derivatives. We've got a giant casino sitting there in the as Wall Street, and this stuff is popping up outside of that, but I think it's more of the same. It's more of buying and selling these assets that may or may not have any real value. And it just it's creating a problem of winners and losers that people, that a lot of the insiders are ending up being the ones walking away with all the money. So Darren, go ahead.
Well, once again, I'll probably have a different perspective than most people on this. I think in the next 5 to 10 years, what we know is crypto is going to pretty much stay about the same, but the real action and the real money in crypto and Web3 and the blockchain technology is actually going to be in apps, that decentralized applications that people build, that people aren't going to have any idea that they're crypto. I mentioned blockchain voting before, and figuring out how to make that to where you can't tell that it's on a blockchain is probably a big challenge. But I can also point to 2 other projects that I'm working on right now for clients. One of which is a loyalty project that's all decentralized, and it's all based on blockchain stuff. You would never know it was cryptocurrency. It's more like loyalty points. I'm working on a decentralized gaming platform for someone, and that's all stuff that's that people would not know as crypto either. Basically, what you have to look at a blockchain as is a giant inefficient database, and that's what all these things are using it for. It's a database that you don't have to, that you can trust absolutely that the information is correct. And there's probably going to be a lot of crossover with AI stuff too, with the crypto, because when you've got something that's zero knowledge, proof verifiable, then how can the AI lie about it? They're going to start relying on that sort of thing to inform AI a lot more too. So there's going to be a lot of technology that we're not even going. I mean, all the stuff that we see right now is like the iceberg on the surface, and everything's going to, that's below it, we're never going to see it because it's going to become part of the infrastructure of what we look at when we look at our phone.
Right. So here's to kind of maybe expand on what you're saying there, Darren. Is maybe cryptocurrency not the killer app for blockchain technology? Like blockchain technology itself is better for other applications, and that it was just cryptocurrency that got it off the ground for people to see the potential. I mean, nobody understood the internet and what it could be now back in the 60s when they just had ARPANET, when it was just basic information sharing.
Yeah. I mean, we're kind of at the point in crypto right now where it's kind of like the beginning of the internet, where we all just had web browsers, but we didn't have SSL on our web browsers. So we didn't know how wonderful it could be to just order stuff over the internet with our credit cards. That's kind of where we're at with crypto right now. Everything that's going to spring after this, there's a lot more use cases for it than just money. I think money is kind of a gross and gauche use case for it. But that's
I'm certainly not going to disagree with that assessment. So I mean, I mean, yeah, we've had discussions in the past that have talked about ways to use blockchain that is not cryptocurrency. And I think, you know, at one point, one of the things, you know, NFTs were a thing that we could mint a token that, okay, it goes to an image that, okay,
Yeah.
but I always thought that was kind of weird. Like, I thought like that was like, because
I mean,
you can still copy the image.
yeah.
You can still
Well, there's
copy the image.
ways to use that too. I mean, it's like a pack of playing cards. The playing cards only have 52 cards in it, but you can translate that to blockchain easily. You can translate magic cards to blockchain easily, and it's like really, you've got unique cards or you've got unique, you know, addresses. One of the projects I'm working on right now is basically it's a card game that's been translated to blockchain. And it represents the cards very easily and very well.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that where the blockchain could be used for a collectible card game very easily, or a collectible anything game, where you want to have either a limited number of each thing, or where those things can be found to be genuine.
Yeah.
Like, you know, that's a lot of the thing in Magic is, well, are these proxies, or are these genuine Magic cards? And if you had a blockchain, now Magic has its own online ecosystem, but so it wouldn't be for that. But yeah, a card game, it's a collectible card game that you could trade, trade cards and buy and sell cards. And
verifiably change ownerships of a card.
Verifiably change ownership. Yeah, I think that could be interesting. I could see that could be very interesting, as long as
the sort of world that I live in, as far as like, you know, developing this sort of thing. So that's what's going on out here in Silicon Valley. People are thinking about that sort of thing. So
yeah, that's very cool stuff. Let me see, what else do I have here? What else do I have here that we can talk about? Let me see. Oh, we didn't really talk about this. So originally, cryptocurrency, Bitcoin was mined with using a whole crap load of electricity in the Bitcoin miners. So I think cryptocurrency is getting away from that. I think is that if I'm following things properly, that they're getting away from the proof of work and into more of a proof of stake model. So
Ethereum is doing that. They've been doing that a lot. So you actually have to stake some Ethereum, and you make money with that. I don't keep up with Bitcoin myself, because I mostly do development, and that's all smart contracts and Ethereum virtual machine. And Bitcoin doesn't really do that sort of thing.
Right. So I mean, so to go along with that, I think there were concerns similar to the AI discussion of cryptocurrency, if it gets widespread adoption, that if it's a proof of work setup, that it would be it would be amazingly wasteful in the amount of electricity that it would need to consume. Just as a point of discussion, I guess. I don't know. How would we advocate for mitigating some of that stuff? I guess it's probably pushing for a proof of stake versus proof of work. But I don't know if anybody knows of any other technologies that are using that are not as electricity intensive, that still have a good solid blockchain.
Well, I do know a lot of people that build blockchains, and one of my friends here in San Francisco is actually the person who wrote BitTorrent. His name is Bram Cohen, and he actually started a blockchain called Chia, which is basically a more ecologically friendly blockchain solution. I don't know how much traction he's gotten with it, but there are people doing that sort of thing out there.
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that was in the early days, especially once it really started gaining some monetary value. Bitcoin, anyways, did. that was one of the things that was a concern with environmentalists and anybody else that's conscious of how much electricity it was burning. So it's good to hear that that's kind of heading away from that. Let me see, what else do I have here? Dustin, did you have something to add, or were you fat fingering again?
Yeah, so I was just going to say another good thing to account for is the hardware you're running this stuff on. So you can measure both what hardware you're using and what software you're using. So those are both different cases to account for. Like both of those play a factor in how much electricity you're using for something. Because a better designed chip is going to use a lot less extra electricity to perform the same action. Has a smaller form factor in terms of like what it's using to compute things. So it's got to use less.
There's also the e-waste issue with especially in the early days of relatively early days of Bitcoin. There were these ASIC miners that were getting updated every so many months. You'd have a whole new generation of ASIC miners, and the old ones are basically obsolete. So that I don't know how much of an issue that is now, because it's been a long time since I've done any cryptocurrency mining, and I am definitely out of the space. So, anybody have any insights on any of that stuff, the e-waste side of it? No. Okay. It's just another part of the environmental stuff that's interesting.
One thing I just wanted to bring up, just on the subjects, we are really lax about monetary crimes in this country, and not in the sense of like tax evasion, because obviously that's what they got Capone for. That's not what I mean when I say that. I mean, if you embezzle or you somehow come away with $200 million in stock fraud and your fine is a $2 million slap on the wrist, well, you get to keep $198 million of that. And the reason I bring this up is because I feel like when you look at like crypto and the rug pull schemes, perhaps it's not the crypto that's the problem, but the people who are allowed to get away with these financial mismanagements and these financial inappropriate actions. And maybe this is me speaking as a Bears fan, and this really doesn't have anything to do with crypto. But the fact that Brett Favre wasn't shot in the back of the head for stealing millions of dollars from welfare is a crime against humanity. And I think that is truly that's the epitome of how we treat financial crimes in this country, especially financial crimes that impacts poor people or people that don't have the vast amounts of wealth. If they're not being stolen from, they typically don't care if you get your money through dirty means. And I think that's perhaps the issue. It's not so much that crypto is the problem, it's the fact that people are dirty players with crypto.
Right. It's more a cultural and larger financial system issue. Not necessarily specific to Bitcoin, but just the amount of financial fraud and scams we see. I mean, there's some hard. I'll tell you what, there are some hardworking Indians, and when I say Indians, I mean Indians, like from India, that end up calling a lot of people to try and weasel them out of some gift cards. So the financial fraud stuff is bad. It's out there, and it's coming for everybody. I mean, I'm sure we all see scams every day that are trying to get money out of us. Mm-hmm. So you're right. There's very little real enforcement of this unless it is absolutely catastrophic. And even then, most of the time, like you said, that we see a slap on the wrist for the whoever the major actor was, and that is a problem. That is a problem. With this Department of Justice, I certainly don't see any of that changing. But
well, another thing to consider is our own companies are running scams not only on us but overseas as well, in the same way other countries are on us too. So we should be looking at that as well, probably.
Yeah. So fraud and scams thing. I just don't, I just don't understand how it is as accepted and as it has become. I know we get bombarded and it's everywhere, but part of the reason it's everywhere is because people get away with it. I mean, that's really what I see is just people get away with it, so they're gonna do it more. And that's bad, especially for an emerging industry like cryptocurrency, because when it gets full of scams and frauds, it taints the whole it taints the whole thing, because that's the reputation that regular people see, because they see big news reports of crypto scams and rug pulls, and that does it taints the whole thing. Technology itself is not is not morally wrong or bad. It's just how it's being used. And that kind of goes back a little bit to what I said earlier about AI. AI is a tool, cryptocurrency is a tool, and it's by itself is not necessarily a good or bad thing. It's how people use it. So do we have anything else? Anything else on cryptocurrency? Anything else we didn't say or we haven't said 3 or 4 times already? I think I've repeated myself a couple times. Not seeing any hands.
I just want to say that if somebody gets me an interview with the FBI, yes, I'm going to testify against them, because oh my God, this whole case that I'm involved in with the crypto rug pull guy, that's just, don't make the FBI talk to me. That's just going to make me mad. I mean, I spend my life trying to keep away from the 3-letter acronyms. So I'm very against people getting away with stuff. That's the whole. I'm trying to do my part and testify against this guy. But it's another one of these. Everybody here in San Francisco knew he was a scummy guy. I've known him for close to a little bit over a decade and a half. I've seen him involved in all sorts of shady dealings, and I was just like, well, maybe if I'm involved in it, it's not going to be so shady. No, that's not how it works. The people are going to be shady no matter what. I used to see one of the first deals that I saw this guy get involved with was there was a group of Russian nationals that bought a church here in San Francisco. They were all oligarchs, and he wrote their business.
I think we lost San Francisco, and hang on a second here. I'm making sure. Oh, there we go. You guys are back. Sorry, you froze up there, Darren, and I was trying to make sure that it wasn't my end losing connection. So
Yeah, it wasn't you. It was us for some reason. No, trying to get.
You're talking about the oligarchs buying a church.
Yeah. So this guy wrote their business plan, and their whole business plan was basically, we're selling entrepreneur visas. I mean, people talk about Trump selling entrepreneur visas here. That's always been going on. And people have always figured out how to do the loophole here. Basically, if you invest up to $1 million in a company in the United States, you can get a visa for that. And these Russian nationals were trying to figure out how to facilitate that. And it was going swimmingly for them up until the Ukraine war, and the oligarch that was funding the whole thing got sanctioned. So the whole thing collapsed. The church has now been repossessed by the bank, and all sorts of stuff like that. They're not coming back. But that was one of the first things that I saw him involved in, and I was just thinking, man, that's really shady. And then he offered me a lot of money to help him with this crypto thing. And I was like, okay, well, I'll give this a chance. Well, of course, if people give you an uneasy feeling in the pit of your stomach, or if you think that they seem kind of slimy, they usually are. And go with your first impressions of people. So that's all I have to say. It's like all the talk that everybody said about technology being neutral and it's the uses that people put it to is the problem. That's 100% correct. I don't think AI is an evil technology. I think it's Sam Altman is the evil one. So that's yeah.
Yeah, I that's kind of a lot of my general philosophy on things is we oftentimes will blame the tool, but the tool is not the problem. It's the person behind the tool. So yeah, the people behind the tool are the ones that should when they commit crimes are the ones that should get punished, and we shouldn't be looking at the tool as a problem. But yeah, I mean that's just my personal feeling on it. So, anybody have anything else on crypto, or would like to talk about crypto?
We're stretching this out as much as we can.
We are stretching it out. I don't have anything. I don't have anything else to bring up topic wise. I think we've covered everything that I had in my crypto notes, and we've talked about more obviously. So I mainly I'm stretching it out a little bit just because we had extra time because my estimate for our business was way over. So that being said, if we don't have anything else on crypto, I have the floor is open, and I got about 10 minutes or so before we need to reset the stream. But if anybody wants to add anything, I think we're kind of at that point. If somebody has something they want to plug, any states want to plug their state websites or state
actually
anything.
I think actually this might be a good thing that we could talk about here. I want to try and spearhead a movement to build some sort of blockchain voting tool for all the pirate parties and any party that wants to use it really. I've been thinking about this for a while. If anybody else knows anything about coding, I'm doing it all in Flutter, which is an app framework that will compile things into Android or iOS. And I really would like to get this off the ground, but I need some other folks to help me out with it, really. Otherwise, I'm just going to rely on AI to write it. I don't think I want to do that.
That may or may not be a very good idea, depending on what AI you choose. So, yeah, I think that's a good idea. So I guess there's Darren just put out the call. If you're interested in
contact the California Pirate Party, because
there you go.
We've got a GitHub, and I've got a couple of different repositories that I've been experimenting with, but I'm ready to actually start building one. And I want it to be open source. I want it to be available for anybody to download and compile, and I want it to be available for anybody to audit so that they can say, hey, this is a legitimate voting tool. It can't be cracked, or it can't be fiddled with very easily, because everything can be fiddled with. I learned that, being a computer hacker person. So,
yeah, absolutely. Dustin, go ahead.
Dustin.
So I know I've talked to people about how I've worked on an approach for making voting systems in general, the political scorecard and whatnot. I've looked a good bit into security related stuff around open source related security stuff. And what I was hoping to build towards, at least on my projects, was orienting things around Keycloak, which already has like a very robust security system, and then try to make a normal self-hostable app with Keycloak, and then start with. I know Keycloak also has a capability to do crypto-based authentication and authorization. So that way you could hopefully start tying identity through Keycloak, and it's a standard IDP that's configurable. So the direction I wanted to go with that, at least, and I have a ton of projects between here and there, honestly, that would be needed, but I've been gradually building up my skill set around Keycloak and making it secure for a normal self-hostable app, since that's what I already know. But getting Keycloak working and then building out the crypto portion of that, and then after figuring out that portion of it, that's when I would want to figure out the back-end development portion of like the voting stuff with what you're doing. If you're building out like crypto-based stuff, and then like integrate at that point between Keycloak and that way people can have decentralized host anywhere apps that are normal, but still have a way to log into things that's standard, easy to hook up to new apps, and they can have their data however they want in future versions of things, I guess. But just tying things to an identity that's easy to log back into through Keycloak, I guess, with crypto. It was more where I was trying to head with that. But I know you have much more background with crypto than I do. I just know in the abstract. I know Keycloak. I like to use it with the self-hosted apps that I try to build that are open source, and that's the direction that I would generally try to head in, so that it's more standardizable rather than just building out one decentralized app for voting. Make it so that many people can use the same app and format and use it across different apps in the future.
So one of the things that people tend to get confused about with decentralized and blockchain applications is that wallets are basically your identity with those, and you have a private key and a public key for the wallet, and when you're signing transactions, that's basically your verification that you are who you say you are. So there's not really going to an outside service or anything like that to verify who you are. It's the zero knowledge proof, basically. And that's one thing that's kind of a problem with the way it's all set up now, is that anybody can spin up a wallet like that. So you can have lots of people spinning up lots of different wallets to game the system or whatever. That's something that I'm trying to like figure out exactly how to limit that. But it may be going to a service like Keycloak or any other. I was looking at it. It looks like it's got hooks into just about every authentication or single sign-on system that you could want to hook it into, like LDAP or anything like that. That may be the solution to it. I don't know. That's why I want to get somebody else involved in the project, because I need other people to think about and bounce ideas off of. So yeah, let's talk more about this, but it's a good place to start.
Yeah, to me, it sounds like a great project. I'm not going to be of much help though until you're ready to start testing.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, coding is definitely not my thing. But I can definitely give you some feedback with the interface and all that stuff when it's time to do that testing. Anything else? Blockchain sort of oriented, or
I need to take a short break myself, so break. I'll be right back though.
All right. Do I have anything anybody wants to plug? I've got about 5 minutes here before we've got to reset the stream. Any plugs? Anybody wants to talk about what they're doing in their local area? Floor is open.
Well, the Illinois Pirate Party will have an in-person meeting in Alton, Illinois, which is in the Metro East. That's part of the project that we have going on to have one in-person meeting in each of the 12 chapters each month. So the Metro East is by St. Louis, which is the other side of the state from where I live. So luckily, there's an Amtrak that'll take me there and back. So that'll be nice. Other than that, ilpirates.org. If you're in Illinois, come visit, come check us out. I have the keys to the Indiana Pirate Party Twitter now, and I think I'm going to host a redo type event for the Indiana Pirates, see if they can get reorganized. So stuff like that. Look forward to that in the future.
All right, good stuff. I'm thinking, Mitch, it's time.
Drew, this 2025 conference went well, I thought. I think that this party, it's a great party because we believe in some great things. We believe that the United States should be a good neighbor. We believe in cool, clean water. I believe Brett Favre deserved a bullet to the back of the head for what he did. And if purchasing isn't ownership, and piracy isn't theft, and Captain Drew, I motion to adjourn.
All right. Do I have any objections? I'm guessing no, because I've been kind of poking and prodding for any other discussion points. Okay. Well, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. I think this was a great success this year. We had some great speakers, some good discussions. Let's see. Our next regular meeting. Are we on the 6th or the 13th?
We are on the. See, now originally I thought we had planned a 3-day conference, so I don't think we have a schedule for the 6th. I think that we do have just an empty day that day. Do we want to just push it back to the 13th and make it so that we have?
I think that's probably not a bad idea because we're going to need to get everybody onboarded. Who's anybody that's a new board member, and I would rather not rush it for the 6th. I think that makes sense. That way it gives everybody time. We're not rushing around to get people onboarded in our chats and email addresses and all that stuff that we might need to change around. But I do look forward to seeing the announcement of the results of our election. Hopefully,
how long is voting going on for that?
Until midnight Pacific. So you have until 3 a.m. Eastern of tomorrow.
Until like 3 a.m.
Saturday Eastern.
Saturday?
Yeah, Saturday Eastern.
Okay.
So from once we started and shared that link, of our ballot until tonight at midnight Pacific, 3 a.m. Eastern, Saturday. So, yeah, well, let's do 13th. That way we'll get everybody straightened out and lined up for a meeting of the new board, and yeah, go from there. Well, thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. I think it was a very successful event. We're gonna see you on the 13th, and we'll be back here on this channel. Be a little bit of a different format, obviously, but yeah, we'll be back. Go to uspirates.org/join and get hooked up in the Discord, because that's where a lot of our stuff is. That'll also get you connected to all the other things that we have out there that we're doing. So with that, have a great night, and vote pirate.